Hello, everybody. Emmanuel from Storymoss here today with Danilo Brozović in connection with the upcoming World Adaptation Forum that's taking place in Budapest and online. Tickets are still available online, April 23rd and April 24th. Danilo kindly accepted our invitation for a short weave on why he's excited to travel to Budapest and share more of his insight as a business scholar in Sweden with the forum audience on the state of our current time. So thank you, Danilo. Please give us a little bit of a background and
Yeah,
words
hi,
about the forum.
Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel, and thank you so much for kindly inviting me to this interview. Yeah, I'm extremely excited to be participating in the World Adaptation Forum next week, and I think it's going to be a really marvelous opportunity to not only to participate and to contribute with my insights about societal collapse, which is the topic that I'm going to be talking about next week, but also to listen to all the other presentations and to just join this fantastic network and platform and to learn from everybody else who is going to be there. So I hope that also as many other participants and audience will be able to join and
Yeah.
to share this event together with us. And you asked me about my background, so I'm actually a business scholar, but next week I'm going to talk about societal
Mhm.
collapse and if it is still, I will be discussing if it is still possible to avoid it. And the reason to that is because I am also in my work, although I am a business scholar and of course interested in business topics primarily. So I also got interested in the topic of collapse of society. So a couple of years ago, I performed a so-called literature review covering the concept of societal collapse from various scientific disciplines. So I have tried to integrate what these disciplines are saying or not saying, and I will be presenting main insights from this study, and I will be discussing also this question if there is still some kind of window of opportunity
Yeah.
for avoiding collapse of our global society. But like I maybe should not spoil too
No,
much.
no.
So
Don't spoil too much. We're very excited. Maybe you could share one tiny thing because we've been maybe speaking to five, six different speakers. So I think it's a group of 12, 15 speakers. What's
yes.
great about Balaj and his team, the founder, is like it's year number three. It started with Jem Bendel and the deep adaptation work in 2018, and Hungary quickly becoming the biggest deep adaptation group in the world. But so StoryMouse has been talking and trying to bring more visibility because it's not just scientific and academic papers and essays, it's also practical things. So for us, the idea of can we avoid, perhaps it's going to be hard to avoid because there's so much that is in our power, but so much that's not in our power. But also to prepare and to adapt, to be ready for to make shift in our way of seeing the world and living our life and in our community. So, without spoiling, can you give us a few just inspiration and then we'll guess and then we'll make sure we watch anyway? Thank you, then.
Yeah, well, I will, maybe it's not a spoiler because this is something that I will say in the beginning. So I will talk quite a lot and I will anchor my presentation and what I will be talking about a lot in the past, what we can learn from the past and how today
Yeah.
is different from the past and what we can should
Yeah.
might or will not be able to do when it comes to the future or even possible futures that are in front of us.
Yeah.
And I think that my presentation will be on relatively macro level. So I will be talking about these things. I will be discussing these aspects, and of course I will go into the adaptation part of what can be done, what should be done, what if we can do something or
Yeah.
not. So,
Thank you. Exciting. Make sure that we report on it if we don't catch it live. I'm also excited because I saw that in the panel you're going to pair up with two or three other speakers, and one of them is Professor Francis Ludlow, Trinity College, Dublin, who I never heard that. He's an expert in environmental medieval studies. So
oh
I'm
yes,
fascinated with those three words put together.
that is
And
going to be very
yeah,
fascinating,
and
absolutely. And
because
also the other
yeah,
panelists, I think Leon Simons and Wim Nodde and also George
yeah, we spoke with
Tsakaklides.
George from Northern
Yes.
Greece. Fascinating interview. Now I'm going to make sure that we speak to Leon Simmons this week. But Story Moss is this magazine of more dedicated to permaculture. So we're pushing permaculture as people share or share fair share as a solution to changing our lifestyle and bringing more mindfulness to everything we do around our life and our family and community, and also looking at nature. So I'm fascinated with biomimicry. So looking at nature to guide us, and looking at history, looking at the past, looking at what people who had to surmount what we're trying to surmount. Like it's often would say, oh, times are so hard right now. It's like, look, it's always been very hard. It's not fair to almost say we are really in difficult time. It's like, what about Europe in 1942, So yeah, so very exciting. We also, you have a great article that was just published in Forbes, Croatian. So I'll make
Oh
sure
yeah,
that
yeah.
I get the AI translation and maybe incorporate it into my sharing our interview. But also to close us off, it's fun because you were born in Croatia, right? Where were you
Oh
born in
yeah,
Croatia?
yeah.
So now you're
Yeah,
going back
I'm
to by
I'm
your region.
Croatian, and yeah, I will now. That is correct. So I even if I work in Sweden today, but like I was born in Croatia, and I moved to Sweden to do my master's studies,
Yeah,
and then after that I continued to work and did my PhD here. So I feel very much European.
at home,
So
yeah. And
yeah.
you're such a young business scholar. You were born when Croatia was Croatia.
Yeah, I was born when Croatia was still part of Yugoslavia, so
All
maybe I'm not
right,
that
just
young, but
okay.
thank you. Yes, yes. So I managed to experience the transition and like
Yeah.
and also the war and talking about like
Mm,
difficult stuff and
yeah,
adaptation. So there
yeah,
there is
yeah.
there is a lot, but yeah, maybe I also wanted to just give a brief comment about permaculture there because I
Yes.
also think it's very important and it can be a very important, if I could call it ingredient or a part of the
Hmm.
adaptation, because I also few years ago I did a study together with a dozen of permaculture businesses here in Sweden to develop business model based on strong sustainability. And it was really fascinating to see how different that business model
Hmm.
is from the usual business model that is usually being taught at business schools and universities. So
Yeah,
it was really fascinating to talk and to get this perspective as
yeah,
well, and that is very much needed perspective,
yeah.
I think.
Thank you for adding that because we are permaculture designers at StoryMouse, and it's funny enough, we're helping engage more people in the World Adaptation Forum, and at the same time, we're helping more people around the world as well to get engaged in the global Earth repair convergence happening in early May in Washington State, Cascadia bioregion in Turtle Island, America. And so it's interesting because they're so together. Like yesterday, we were lucky to be in a conversation with Professor Mazim Koumsieh in Bethlehem,
Mm.
Palestine, with a group of permaculture designers, and to listen to how, permaculture and peace are so intertwined, and how also we're really close to Joanna Macy and deep ecology, how in the circumstances of the hardship in his homeland, with like Israeli bomb jets flying and dumping all their crazy stuff, fighting and bombing Gaza. That's now, he said, is like a football field. How active hope, to be in the garden and protect seeds and just get your hand and just figure the water. It's been so helpful, and he's like maybe late 60s. So he's a professor at the University of Bethlehem. So yeah, I think I was going to say, Balaj, the founder, was like, next year, maybe you should bring a permaculture team at the World Adaptation Forum, because we see it. Because I speak to you, and then I'm going to speak to a water, like for instance, John Liu, who is restoring degraded land around the
Oh
world,
yeah,
So
yes,
that's
yes.
like, wow, this is exactly the same conversation. But anyway,
It's
thank you so
it's
much,
thank
Danilo.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we hope to
Emmanuel.
stay in touch. Have a good time. Budapest is the hope of Europe right now, but we're keeping our eyes open
Absolutely.
because we never know what
You
the
never
new
know. Yeah,
direction can bring. So let's be safer. That's also, I think about adaptation for me when I bring it to my own personal journey, is to be able to establish better, healthy boundaries, where, okay,
exactly.
Budapest, Hungary, well done, but wait a second, is it going to be okay? So we can just like
We still have to. There
be
is still a lot
cautious.
of work in front of
Yeah,
us.
and be
Yeah.
cautious. Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good time in Budapest. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.